Zone 5 against 1365 is finally over. But this battle was absolutely crazy, and this Zone 5 lasted, I think, about 5 days. Join me to hear how it all went down. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today, we are talking about Zone 5 because this was absolutely mind-blowing. This zone was filled with combat from the minute the gates opened. I remember when this gate opened, I was trying to march through this pass, and 1365 Wales random TP'd out, and I could barely even get my troops out of this first pass, which is just insane. But the combat in this zone was insane, and honestly, it went way better than I thought it was. So today we're going to be talking about this zone, how it all went, right? I'm going to show you some maps of things were when they opened, and I can also tell you about exactly what happened as we progressed through the zone. Then we're going to look through my stats because I had a particularly good time this zone. I think my stats went really well. And then we're going to look at the KVK stats to compare how this zone went versus how the 2489 zone went. And spoiler alert, our zone was a lot more combat. So let's start with how this went down. So when the zone opened, right, this was what we had. So everyone dropped down their forts. You can see that right there. We can actually go back here so you can get the overview. FF, FW, and ULT, those are in the main ones. And then everyone dropped a big line of forts along the side. Now, what's not seen here is there were a bunch of forts that were dropped over to the right of 6FW5. And that was shortly after. So this was like initial fort drop, everything open. What are we doing? There were a bunch of forts that ended up getting dropped to the right of 6FW5 because 1365 said, oh, we're going to try and go around them and cut them off from their forts. But you can see everything was building. And what is absolutely mind-blowing to me is we knocked down, and by we, I mean 3265 and 1875, we knocked down this JST fort. I was not expecting it. I was completely caught off guard. We knocked down the JST fort. They were not able to finish building it. Even if you look at the current map, right, that JST fort is not in the same place. We knocked it down. So that was absolutely crazy. And we ended up having them on the rails for a little while. We were burning their forts. We were burning their flags. They could not get past us. And we got initial occupation of the monument. So we actually had the monument, or the sanctuary, and we held it for 2-3 days. We got the first occupation. We got the coalition achievements. And it wasn't until, I want to say this last Sunday, that we turned around and we were like, you know what? Not worth it, right? We're going to give it to them. They can have it. They did a huge push for it. And honestly, we had just been burning a lot of farm troops trying to hold this thing. We had this Nom fort was sitting here the entire time. We were not able to get rid of it. And so they constantly were pelting us over here. They were pelting ULT over here. And so it was just easier for us to go ahead, give it to them. We weren't going to continue to hold the zone. It was too costly. And we knew that we had fighting at the Zone 6 pass and the King of Sand. So it just didn't make sense to fight over a zone that was useless. Now, the real reason why this sucked was actually because of bastions, right? This thing is useless. This Tempest Sanctuary, yeah, 10% march speed, great. Not really. The real loss here is actually this YSG Bastion, because we are in Heroic Anthem, and YSG Bastion gives you a 10% chance to gain 100 extra rage and 100% bonus to archer unit attack for 3 seconds. Usually this be like, whatever, archers. But with QSH in the game now and Shapur about to be the meta for rallying with archers, this is a major loss for us. The fact that we didn't get that is really, really bad. So that was kind of how the map shook out. I was really, really proud of us. The fact that we held on for as long as we did is absolutely crazy to me. Here's another video after we had knocked down things. You can see we really had everything in a great spot. We were pushing them. ULT had the monument encircled. PP was right there. They ended up taking down that fort, and then they pushed up through here. But it was an awesome zone. Really good combat, really good time. So many props to 2902 and 1365. Great fighting. But how exactly did this end up comparing to everyone else in this KVK, right? That's the big question. Well, let's find out. So if we go over here, we have our OK board. So our OK board will show us all the different stats. As a refresher for you guys, here is the overview as to which camp is which. So let's pull that down real quick. So here's the overview. Earth is us, 1875. Wind is 1365. Water is 1682, 2666, and 2748. And fire is 2489. So if we go back over here, you can see that Earth and Wind by far had the most combat. And remember, we are Earth. And we actually had more kill points than 1365. Which, like, I was not expecting. You guys remember my first video? I was like, I don't think we stand a chance. I don't know how we're going to beat these folks. We had more kill points than 1365. We lost the zone, and that's fine. But we ended up with more kill points than them, which just astonishes me. But here is why we gave up the zone. Because we had way more deaths than them. I think, while we got more kill points, our trades weren't that great, right? It's 1365. They were really hard to hit. The new tech was awesome, and I'll show you guys where I am with that. But the trades were kind of crummy. And so you can see that 1365 had a lot of troops left, whereas we spent a lot of our farms here. We didn't spend very much on our mains. People didn't lose very many troops from deads, but we did spend a lot of our farms and a lot of our main resources. So that's kind of how things shook out on our side. You can see water and fire had fractional fighting, not even half as much fighting as we did, which makes me a little nervous. I'm going to be honest. If we lost this 1365 in a 1v1 and water lost to fire 2489 within a day, maybe two, this makes me think that Kingsland is not going to go the way that I would hope it would. So we'll find out. I'm optimistic, but just based on the stats alone, I'm a little nervous about Kingsland. I think Zone 7 is going to be fine, right? Or past 7. But Kingsland is I think, probably not going to go the way we would hope it would, and that doesn't surprise me really at all. And you can see here, again, the trades, deaths for kills, the ratios are pretty rough. And you can see that here as well. So overall, the stats are pretty good. Now, if we're wondering which kingdom did the best, let's blow this up for you guys to actually see. So here's how we are. 1875 absolutely crushed it. Like, I am so proud of them. I told you guys at the beginning of this KVK, I was like, I don't know much about these guys. I haven't played with them before, but they absolutely crushed it. They brought in more KP than anyone. They also took more deaths than anyone. And their ratios were amazing. So claps to 1875. They are an awesome kingdom. They fought really, really, really well. And then you see 1365. To be expected, they had way more power than 1875, which obviously makes sense to me, but they didn't do as well from a KP standpoint, and they also didn't get nearly as many deaths, which in this instance is probably a good thing because it's Zone 5. But overall, they had a great victory ratio. And what you see here is it's the other kingdoms, 3265 and 2902, that really got pummeled here, right? The partner kingdoms had the bad victory ratios and also took a lot of deaths. So if you look at 3265, that's us, we took 170 million deaths. That is almost as many as 1365 alone. So just to put things into perspective, like, it was a rough time in 3265. We had a lot of fighting. And then you have 2049. Obviously, they crushed it. And 2748 is, I think, in water camp there. So that's their main representation here. So overall, 3265 was 6th on the leaderboard, which I'm a little bit bummed by, considering that we had a lot of combat. But if you look at the starting power, that's kind of to be expected. 2748 should be above us. 2902 should be above us. So from a power standpoint, we really are kind of punching above our weight class. You see 2666, 3500, and 1682 all have more power than we do. So in that aspect, it's good. The kill point numbers are pretty good as well. So I'm pretty happy with how this zone went. You can see there was a lot of fighting. Things went really well. If you're looking to poach people, here are all the top governors from all of the different kingdoms. Overall, it was a really, really good time. Now, how did I do, right? Because everyone always says, Shappy, you're a farmer. Shappy, you suck. You don't fight enough, blah, 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 blah. Okay, guys, I'm putting that to rest right now. My power's still pretty good. And if we go over here and we look at my path to greatness, this is zone 5, mind you. And yes, it lasted a few days. I was up to 15.4 million kills for me. For me. I think that's pretty good. I got over half of my KVK needs in this zone, and I did not get a lot of deads. So if we come over here, I only got 339,000 deads. And yes, they were mostly going to be cavalry here, a little bit of archers. This is nothing. This is so nothing. And I am training up archers because I know Shapur is going to come in and I'm going to have to kill all my archers. So overall, I'm really happy with this. My resources spent healing, about 9.5 billion. And you can see it's really food. Food has been killing me with the healing. There's a little bit of wood here too, which surprises me, but I think that's really just because of the archers. I am telling you guys, and I have another video coming out from when I first opened the zone, QSH is a must max commander. I'm telling you right now, he is a must max commander. Don't believe me? This is QSH's number of kills in zone 5. Just QSH. This isn't not Zug. I had never used him before this zone. I'm not doing the math. I'm not going into each commander. Alone, he got 2.2 million kills. And his trade ratio was spectacular. So I expect that I'm going to be using a lot more archers. Overall, my resources are in a pretty good spot too. I got about 900 million food, 1.1 billion wood, 1.4 billion stone, and 1.7 billion gold. So I don't think I'm going to need more gold this KVK, which is good. I also still have a little bit more on my farms that I could go steal as needed. And I've trained, I believe it's 400k troops per farm, and I have 4 farms. So I should be pretty okay in that aspect too. So overall, I'm feeling pretty good going into the zone. Here's my remaining number of troops. You can see I have 3.2 million troops, and that's not including some of the wounded ones that are out on the map right now. So really about 3.2 million troops. I'm planning on killing at least 1.5 million of these because our KVK has so much fighting that we're actually going to be getting 60% troops back, which is going to be a big deal. So that should make things a little bit easier. That also means that we got the special rewards down here. So you guys may know that if you are an S or above ranked KVK, you get special rewards. These special rewards actually mean you're getting 20,000 gems. And then if you're S plus, you can get up to 60,000 gems between the two, which is crazy. Overall, I'm very happy so far. 15.4 million kills. Zone 6 is coming shortly. We do not have altar fights. That's specifically chosen to happen that way. So it's really just going to be this next pass and then Kingsland, and I will keep you guys posted as we progress there. One other thing I wanted to make sure I showed you guys is actually my crystal tech at this point, because a lot of people responded to my crystal tech video, which is linked on the top right side of your screen, and they were saying, like, Chaffee, please keep us posted as you continue to invest. So naturally, I will. So here we are. This is where we are as of right now. This is after zone 5, before zone 6 pass opens. So we're in zone 6, but there's no combat here just yet. Again, I have not purchased Crystal Quest. So here's everything that we have. I have to max out Barbarian Bounties and Karaku Reports right now. I've invested in some of this other tech just to get it to a higher level right now. but my main focus is getting health up. Now, if you guys did see my crystal tech video, then you know that getting pre-defer and a lot of the damage reduction is probably going to be unlikely for me before this next pass and maybe even before Kingsland. So you can see I can't even unlock special concoctions. I can't do Swift Marching 10 until Special Concoctions 10 is up to level 10. Then I have to do larger camps. To do that, I have to do these. So lots of dependencies, a lot of crystal cost here. So this is where I am. I managed to get all of my health up to 5. I'll probably end up doing some more indexing on the defense here and max that out for the troops that I'm running. But overall, I'm kind of stuck on my crystal tech, but here's where I am. I can invest further in some of the march speed tech, but leveling up these things is going to be unlikely. If you guys have enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on this video and hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Thank you all. Shappy out.